Hello folks, here we are again. This is pxy-gnomes and this is the second WikiRigs live for animation and rigging stuff in Blender, right? But for now I'm just making rigging. At some point I'll start making some animation content too. So this time we're gonna make something a bit crazy here. I've prepared an experiment that we will be using rest position resets, or not resets, but we'll be changing the rest position in order to demonstrate how it can actually affect the same character on its deforms. For example, you know, the famous artifacts on complex joints that occur, for example, in this region, right? The curious thing is that even though I'm using here the same skinning algorithms that you would be using if you're using Blender, because usually there's only 3 skinning algorithms there. As far as I know, there is linear blend skinning, dual quaternion skinning, and spline skinning, which is for bendy bones, and spline IK bone constraint, which uses a curve object. And so these you can swap the first two by here: deform, rotation, interpolation with quaternions, dual quaternion skinning, when this preserve volume option is turned on. And this is usually better. The artifacts are, let's say, when it generates artifacts, they are more organic like, so it's kind of little better than linear blend skinning. And however, this, when we are rigging complex characters and we want a wide variety of motion, acrobatics and all that, because animators, right? We want to make all sort of crazy motion, right? And for riggers, yeah, we want that our character be able to do anything, right? And even more than perhaps a normal human being would do. So as you see here, my rest position, it's this bizarre one. I'm not recommending this. This is just for an experiment I was doing. And I don't have here any modifiers that on the model that would affect rigging for this kind of feature here, body feature. Like I have subdivision, but that's all. And here I don't have helper bones. I've deleted this. I've overly simplified this model in order to make this experiment. So yeah, the deform bones, they are just plain stuff. The really not I've deleted lots of mechanism bones, whatever. As you can see here, this wave painting is really simple. There's nothing special about it. But because the fact that I've learned, and that we often know, it's well documented, I guess, at some point when the mesh rotates through its deform bone, which carries wave painting influence to the mesh, then at some point of rotation there will be horrid artifacts. Oops, no, hold on, I'm trying to... This is happening because I have, let's see, tool, where's animation? No, it's the axis thing, active tool. No? Sorry, I'm confused here. I don't know why I can't find this. I was using it all the time and now I just pose options. Okay, tool, pose options, and then no, it wasn't active, whatever. So I don't want to have it active. So what I just want to go exaggerate until something ridiculous happen. Yeah, but in this, because of the starting root position, not of the bone, of the deformed bones exactly, but of the mesh, as the bone, the deformed bone rotates, like in this direction, whatever, so it tends to, the more it rotates, nearly closing up to 90 or negative 90 degrees, then it's dangerous rotations for creating the artifacts. But because the rest position of the mesh for this character is this thing, even for the arm, actually I've seen this pose for the arm, the rest position for the arm, rest position, because on edit mode it's like that, and I don't have, I'm not using this thing to visualize transforms made to the right, so it's pure thing, like it's really root position, rest position, different from rest pose that I can change rest pose, right, just through here. If I make this, then apply, I don't want any selection, then apply this pose as the rest pose. This is a rest pose, is pose mode stuff. Okay, so now what I've done here, I've just changed the rest position for the bones, for the armature, but I didn't change the rest position for the mesh object, for the character, for the model. And so this is very important, because if I thought that, oh, if I changed the positioning of the bone on edit mode, the deformed bone, then it would have on certain different, it would be on a different orientation, angle, degree starting, like here. If I started here, then it will start to affect the mesh, the artifacts later, because now the bone is a bit differently rotated. But no, it's not about the bone. The bone is just an abstract tool. It's about the mesh root position, and this is not a concept that is well explained, because there's the root position, but the root position for the bone is a different thing than the root position for the mesh. These are actually very different concepts, and so I think that we lack a name for the rest position for the mesh, and the rest position for the armature, and the rest pose for the, well, we know the difference between the rest pose, right, and the rest position for the bones, but there is also the rest position for the mesh, which in principle we would expect would be the same as the armature of the bones, but sometimes it doesn't need to be. For example, if I did that, okay, now the rest position of the mesh is different from the rest position of the bones, and the rest position for the bones are matching with, of course, the rest position of the bones on pose mode. But of course this is probably bad for the mesh, or sometimes it might have some utility, I'm not sure, but certainly, or more likely, the utility is not about this kind of rotation thing that I was trying to make it different. So it's the mesh rest position which matters. And so even you see now that here I don't have, the wave painting was very simple as I've shown before. Let me show you again. nothing special about this wave painting. I don't have shape keys on this model. I don't have also helper bones, because I've deleted. I could show all the bones and then hide. Yeah, I could be cheating, but no, trust me, there is no helper bones here. The mechanism bones I have are all yeah, I deleted whatever I had on the foot to simplify, because you know this method for changing the rest position for the mesh and for the armature. We're gonna use it a lot, and we're gonna make the transformations to the whole structure. Actually, I'm focusing on the legs, right? And as we do it, we'll be also adapting the rest position of the bones with this operator here, apply pose as rest pose, but this is only for the armature stuff. While the other method, which is not an operator, it employs the armature modifier. Basically, we have to, I can go back after. So basically, if I want to change this, let's say, yeah, let's do it with something crazy here, and this is just a generic example, doesn't really matter. So I want this to be the new rest position for the mesh and as well for the armature. So I go now, I make the pose on pose mode, and the problem with that is that in principle, I think it requires that we do it for whatever object that is rigged to the armature. I'm not sure, but I think this is why I've deleted lots of stuff on this character, because I want to make it simple. Otherwise, maybe some change will not be adapted. For example, the clothes. Yeah, the clothes. This is a nightmare, because then you have to do it for every single object. So you have lots of pieces of clothes, mesh objects. And now in here I have eyes, and maybe the eyes is not important because in this pose they weren't changed, but I got trouble with, I'm not sure. So it can be complicated. And anyways, if we have many clothes objects, mesh objects, we'll have to do it for each one. Otherwise, they won't adapt their meshes. So I think that will be, so this is complicated. So let's do it. First, I'll use the model. Okay. There's a simple way. Shift D is to duplicate. So what happens with Shift D? Then something very bizarre happens, but then this is the newly created one, armature 001. Okay, it's clear that's the new one. And then we can apply the old one, which Control A. So it's Shift D, Control A. So let's just apply the first. And so then there is this strange thing again, and we don't understand nothing what's happened, but then we just go on pose mode on the armature and apply. I don't want to use selections, so, but it doesn't matter if we use just this operator. It's global, right? No, maybe it's not global. Maybe I did something wrong. So yeah, there's another, yeah, that's oh yeah. So let's see, it should have worked. I don't know, something failed. Okay, so you see, this is very, very complicated. It's the kind of stuff that hopefully I can go back. Maybe. So this took me by surprise. So let's the demonstration didn't work. There are tutorials for that, but Here we're gonna be using a lot. Maybe it was because it wasn't symmetric. Maybe I did something wrong anyways. So X mirror, then let's make some mirrored pose. This will be better, right? So let's make a, yeah, let's make a T pose. Oh, by the way, from that starting pose, if I try to do that, the legs behind, yeah, there are some very bad deforms here that occur. They could be even worse, because here the rest position, yeah, maybe it's worse than the T pose or A pose for the legs, which are just to be straight. So if the legs are straight, maybe they have, on the A pose and T pose, they'd have better deforms here, but certainly they would have worse deforms here. And as you see, these deforms on that critical region are not really bad. They are nearly not perfect, right? But they usually this is a nightmare to fix. And here with just simple waves, and it could be even better if the rest position for the mesh started already somewhere like here, but I have tested it, and of course for the opposite side it creates some clipping, and that's horrible. It's even worse than the artifacts, like there's some teleportation of the mesh. I'll wreak havoc because it rotated too much, because from, so it's why a central position, rest position for the mesh is actually a good thing. But perhaps the conventional T pose and A pose aren't that smart for natural deforms, for later on if we want to develop the corrective solutions for the rig. But in compensation, the A pose and T pose, they are straight. It's easier to organize everything. So, but I feel like there might be other better solutions. I was experimenting with that, and you see something good about it at least. And then of course I can have a T pose from here. I'll show you how we can operate. There's a cool idea, but it's also not very conventional, I guess. I've never seen someone doing it. And so let's attempt. The problem is often pose trouble to alignment later on of the bones on pose mode, because we are always changing that. And we might sometimes have to reposition there, like manually on a later work, because we cannot align the bones very well on pose mode, although we can do this on edit mode. On pose mode it's not possible. The bones, they don't have head and tail, I guess. Oh, they have, but something, no, they don't have. Yes, that's a problem. We don't have much precision on pose mode. And so let's say here, let's see that, let's try to see what I mean. It's then I can apply this whole thing as a rest pose. And so what happens here? Okay, no, you see that this is the rest position for the mesh, but the rest pose for the rest position for the bones are slightly different, and this is what I might have to change manually. But then if I do that now, of course I'll lose the what I was willing to do. Wait, why my character didn't reset? Usually I could create a T-pose from this. So something got wrong, maybe. What's happening here? Okay, I cannot go back. Okay, so yeah, so now this is horrible, and so I broke the file. This is really complicated stuff to deal with. Okay, this is just one. So let's change. Let's forget what I was doing. It is possible. I'll maybe do it at some other time. So let's use that thing again. Tool, active tool. No, pose. Okay, here. Then, sorry for the confusion, folks. It's difficult. This is there's a bit of experimenting here, but I've gone through all that, so I know more or less what. Okay, so this time I will attempt. I'll show you what was the clipping thing, and so if I start to make like a rest pose like this, which is really why would anyone do that? Well, at least we have shape keys. We can fix that in different ways, but this is a proof of concept, right? I'm just showing, this is for learning purpose, for scientific curiosity, Blender science, right? Or rigging science, whatever. So, okay, I won't change the arms, so I'm satisfied with that pose, and let's now use these things. So, duplicate and apply the old one. So it's just this for every single mesh object. This that is rigged, right? Shift D, Control A. Shift D, Control A. And now the boots, Shift D, Control A. Although its name it was in a bad iteration. Okay, so now we have this this bad thing that seems horrible, of course, but then if I just do this, apply restful, so now everything apparently got fixed. But if I had a lot of contraption rigs with like, you know, foot rig, whatever, lots of bones, this combination of this sequence of operations can mess things up in a very bad way. So this is really not very it's difficult to control all this, but at least I have changed my rest position for both the bones and the mesh. You see what happened here actually, right? The bones, the foot bone got totally rotated instead of being straight. So what I can do to try to adjust it would just do something like that, right? But now it's upside down, so I need to know where is the... Okay, this is the tail, this is the head, so why? Yes, this bone is completely upside down, I guess. So maybe I just need to do some bone row here. No, apparently. Okay, doesn't really matter. I can pause it, but you see, this is the kind of problem that can occur. And if you have bone constraints, bones with bone constraints which relate to spatial stuff, we can imagine this can cause lots of trouble, right? So, and this wouldn't occur if we were just reposing the bones. It only occurs because of this massive rest position change for the whole mesh, right? Okay, so you see the mesh is reposed. It has got a new rest position, and this new rest position will be responsible for better deforms, less worse artifacts on some places, while worsening artifacts on others, if they are ever generated, and usually they are on human rigging. So yeah, I should keyframe this, right? But you see, this is the clipping. The legs rotated from there to, so let's keyframe this thing. So the purpose of this video, of course, is to give this insights of crazy stuff that we can do in rigging, and I hope this gets some dose of interest. So yeah, so you see, I don't know how to solve this. This is maybe if we adjust it there, but this is very dangerous indeed. So but this is not over, this experiment about this. So if I animate here, okay, you see the mesh starts as it started. Okay, it started very bad already, but the advantage here is that I can I was making a shape key or sculpt, or I can, because this is the rest position for the mesh, I can totally model this in the best shape possible for this thing, for this pose. But and then we see as it gets there, it looks good, but then it reaches a point where it's probably one of the worst things that may happen, this clipping stuff. Okay, so but I'll finish this part here by making some change to the mesh. So this will be, I'm using this thing. Let me make sure that I'm using screencast here, so they still have some idea of the commands I'm using. So I'm gonna reshape this. I'll try to be fast, but it can't be too fast. But it's okay. It's not take too long. I'll make it just good enough so that I can have these shapes a bit more organized. Okay, so you see, by just these details, these changes on this relatively low poly model, I've got much better results. But it's still, of course, very bad. Maybe for low poly, medium poly, this will be even artistic, whatever. But this is, let's see, yes, okay, so this shape is kind of okay. So yeah, not very good, but still better, much better than what it were before. And so you see, because it started already with a good shape on that root position for the mesh, and of course for the bones, right? That's because we've applied this new, we also applied the rest position for the bones. So actually this is, I tell it's perhaps wrongly written. Apply pose, no, it's apply pose as rest positions. Apply bone poses as rest position for bones. That would be, I would say something like that. and nothing related to the mesh, although of course it can affect indirectly the mesh. Alright, so let's do, now that I have manipulated this, it would be like making a shape key, right? But no, it's not a shape key, it's really the starting position for this. So again, there is no shape key in this model. Okay, so now let's do this animation again. What we'll see happening is that the deforms start to make different things than we are used to. So until here it looks good, this level of rotation, and then from here it starts to get huge deforms, and of course this is because of the skinning algorithm, and then until it explodes. And yeah, so it doesn't seem to be a very good idea. And the same would occur inverse, in opposite way, if we did this rest position on the other side. But then we would have a perfect, well, nearly a very well sculpted rest position for this. So I think this gave the idea, right? Maybe I don't need to make more of these transitions, right? But like I was intended to do for the upper side, but then this is I think this is enough to get the big picture, right? And so what I can do now, let's try for that T-pose, right? Oh, I don't want to record these things. I want to solve this. So let's make a T-pose this time, and what I need is the animation, no, it's tool, x-axis mirror option, then very cool option actually. I would like that it would be on a better spot. Yeah, this is kind of tricky because I don't have more. Okay, this will be done. Do I have the normal here? Maybe this will be struggling a lot with this thing. Yeah, okay, finally. So this is the problem. Okay, so this shape is really bad now. We'll gonna remake that. Let's see if it is okay. Where is the I need to check here. All right. Now let's do it for the arms. At least the arms didn't suffer this horrid stuff. Okay, let's do something like that. And now, yeah, this fit in this way, it's really bizarre. Let's see if something can... Okay, finally, something better now. And yeah, now these shapes are bad. We're gonna edit that. But that's okay for T-pose. So now let's get all over that thing again. I said we're gonna do this again, so this time will be faster. So Shift D, Control A, Shift D, Control A. So I've made all my objects here in the same to make it simple. Shift D, Control A, Shift D, Control A, and the boots, Shift D, Control A, and then here pose. Now what is the okay, the rest pose is the old one still, so we need to only the mesh changed with that, but both the rest pose that I had previously on pose mode and previous rest position for the bones, they stood in as I left them. So this is why I need now to apply here, apply this as rest pose, and there we go. And now in principle, if I change this, now I can orient this, and I hope this wouldn't change the. So what I need, let's make some alignment here. Yes, but it's backwards, so let's use this switch direction. And now let's see where's the other bones. Let's use this as a reference and let's put it here. Okay, now they are aligned as it should have been since the start. No, they are still backwards. Maybe I really don't get this. What's happening to this? Oh, yeah, I see what. It was my choice, of course. It was my choice to have. Okay, now Z pointing up. Okay, it was my choice to have it backwards, so it's aligned with the global world space, right? That's why. So that confused me a lot, but yeah, you see, since the master bone that can be has more freedom, right? I could change its re-edit its rest position on edit mode for the bone, for the armature, so that now I can have this thing. Okay, so now it's the same model, right? There is nothing from this pose. Oh, it's not the same model. I had changed the butt area, the butt region, the buttocks region. So what's happening here? Crossed legs. I'll make those fixes, but as we go up here, it's not as good in my opinion than what I had originally, but these deforms here in this area are still good, more or less. Little fixing they would need, in my opinion, but still, you see here already starting to have some volume loss, or this was already present. Yeah, there's start to generate the artifact in this region. And for the back bending of the leg, let's see what happens. Of course, there's side bending. There are a lot of other movement that we should be able to test on the leg. But here, because I didn't change the model, of course, this part is relatively okay, but of course on the rest position it's bad. So it's bad for the model sheet of my character, if you want. It's slightly deformed, right? So let's, this I think is one of the last fix I'll make on this. I need, yes, this thing, proportional editing, so I'm more like doing this as a, more like in nearly some sort of sculpt mode. Let's see here, how does it look? No, it's still too much for this character, too much arched buttocks for this character for a normal pose. Protruded buttocks. It was only good on the exaggerated pose. So now here there are some bad stuff here that we can improve a little and see. There's some interpenetrations there. Let's try to, okay, this is horrible. Oh, this clipped because of the mirror. Merged and clipped. Yeah, merged and clipped. Now this is the worst thing. Yes. No, it's free again. No, not free. How to unmerge this? Maybe I cannot unmerge this, so let's... Can't I just go back in time? I've got an idea. Maybe if I can create this, I can dissolve, get this, and get this. Alright, then let's do this. Very deformed leg in this position because of that method of changing the rest position, right? Yeah, this will be kind of complicated. But we're nearly finishing that. Okay, I'm not gonna, it doesn't need to be my artwork here, normal of modeling. So it's just to have at least an acceptable look. Okay, so now let's see what happens. Yeah, now it's okay. Let's see the true deforms, or the true artifacts. Okay, so we see already that the back bending is already not really satisfactory. It's yeah, this is already not very good, and of course we keep going, it's even worse. So, and forwards, I'm curious about that. Yeah, it's yeah, here you see lots of volume loss in this because of this bending. It's quite worse than the original one, where the legs rest position were like something like that, like jumping in a strange way. Or I did that because I've calculated some sort of, you know, the Vitruvian man drawing from Leonardo da Vinci. You have the character, a human with the arms and legs spread apart, maximum, I don't know the theory about that, but whatever, this is the dynamics of the human body, right? And very beautiful drawing, artistical drawing, and it's in terms of rigging, it would make sense to have a neo-Vitruvian pose. That's why I had that original one that would try to get like in the middle of the maximum angular bending of all the limbs. So if the arm can bend this way and up here perhaps, then what will be the middle angle? Somewhere like here. But we don't need to be exactly mathematical. In terms of deforms, it might be better to, in my opinion, perhaps to get closer to where it is easier to avoid artifacts that are worse to fix. So perhaps even though the middle angle would be somewhere like here, I guess, according to what I've tested, I verified, it could be better to start here, because perhaps the deforms here, the artifacts that would generate in the joint region for the elbow, would be much easier to solve when the arm is like this than when the arm is like this. So this is the theory of things. So this is what interests me. I don't expect that we can solve such high angles, like for the whatever. The arm is even worse, right? Because you have this, you have lots of very wide angles, yeah, even to the inside, and then here it's so but it's very interesting. I have made some a sheet drawing with those positions, but the mathematical centers, median points, median of the are not necessarily the best in terms of avoiding the worst artifacts, because they're gonna occur eventually, or they start to be generated even if they won't show the algorithm is working, right? But we can probably make better use of this intelligence to rig, to make so now what I wanted to do, now that we've shown how we can make all that, and I've shown that we can, for certain bones at least, have an easy way manually, even if they are deformed bones, right? Sometimes it's not the case here because they were following the mesh properly, or not so properly, I don't know. We can, yes, we can also make some manipulations to the on edit modes to solve these new positionings. The ideal, of course, is that we don't have to make any of these mesh reposition method, right? Because this can be very disruptive and strange. So what is next here is yes, okay, I remember, sorry, it's let's go back here, and what I wanted to do is to have this, keep this rest position for the mesh, but at the same time change the rest position for the bones, for certain bones, so that my character will be on a T-pose, even though on an object mode, on pose mode, something that I can, or I could save it as a in pose library. Yes, maybe this is the smartest thing to do. So I'll try to see both. I'll do first the pose mode because it's much safer method. So we start with this. And yeah, here I have this problem. Let's see if maybe this is the case that yeah, it's good that it starts tilted already, right? But then here is the bad thing. So yeah, it's not good actually that it started tilting for pose mode, right? Okay, then this say, why don't I make an attempt right now to fix this? Yeah, Control Alt A will align this to the root bone. Let's see now, what does this mean? Yes, okay, the bone is here, but of course this means now that the rotations are not matching, right? Even though, but at least if I reset, it goes exactly like, yeah, it's perfectly aligned with workspace. So this is, at least this is a good thing. Maybe there could be some contraption about that could be done, like have another bone that regulates all that, and then we control another bone with that bone, or vice versa, that controls the leg. And yeah, there might be something we can do, but this is not the point here. This is easy to manipulate anyways. Let's see if we, or at least to visualize. But what I was doing, I need the T-pose. Yeah, I was attempting a T-pose, something like that. Okay, not bad, not bad. Then you see, it seems easier to manipulate even. And then let's get this, and this is also a posable bone. For me, it's a double I-key bone constraint system. I seen in a tutorial, leave in the description also where there is this information, although I've managed to create a system based on that fundamental. You can have the I-key chains don't overlap, is like one I-key for each. So this, for example, it has an I-key bone constraint of chain length 1, and this one which is targeting this one, and this other drum bone has also an I-key bone constraint that is targeting this one, and also has chain 1. So it's a chain of themselves. When one I-key bone constraint ends, the other starts. So I can make some joint pinning. I don't have this for the legs in this case, but I'm gonna do it. It's the same thing, basically, same principle. And this is not I-key F-key switching. It's a breakdown of the I-key bone constraint. This is, I found, really ingenious solution from one guy that I'll leave in the description. And then the setup that I've made here to make this double manipulation, this is this I made it myself. There are other ways probably to do that, and this I'll probably make a tutorial about this, because it's not the point to show it now. But okay, so now just curiosity. Now yes, the T-pose, let's get something close to a T-pose here. And then I'm going to use the pose library. Where is that? is I had already a T-pose, but the T-pose gets destroyed by those manipulations, both of the, even whether it is a manipulation from the mesh rest position that takes the modifiers, right, to duplicate and apply, as well as doing this. Doing only this already seems to disrupt the pose assets in the pose library. So this is pretty sad. Sadly, this happens. So this limits a lot our possibilities. But now I'm gonna make a new rest pose for this. No, not a fake rest pose, right? A T-pose asset pose. Pose asset. Okay, let's, is that it? Where's the camera? It's here. Okay, then asset, create pose asset. No, I need to select the bones, and now it is important which bones I'm going to select for this. Because these are following, yeah, it should be safe that I pick them. I'm not sure. Let's see. It's not. No, it's safe. I don't need to pick them for this, because I tried to reset their positions. They didn't do nothing. So same for this. It's just this manipulation. So, and then let's do it. Create pose asset. Here it is. Update. This is end panel here. Sidebar region. Then yeah, this is good enough. Then what this means is, like, as I reset my pose here, I can use this pose asset to, as if it were a rest pose. Okay, this is I think everyone knows already, but a very simple technique. Okay, so very nice. So here, for example, these pose assets, they've got disrupted because of probably the transform. So this is already not the same that was originally, so it's useless. So I think I have to delete. Same here, totally useless. Yeah, only this serves. So in this case, I would have to delete everything here, except that one, of course. And now I'll show how this transform. This something broke there. No, it's that I need to reset there. Okay. All right. So let's go again. Let's see what were I doing. Okay, so I have this T-pose, and now what I want to attempt is transform the rest position for the bones, not the mesh. It's a simpler thing. Now I'm gonna do a different pose. I don't know if it's a good one. And after this, I guess that's it for this experimental development, right? So let's see. Okay, something like that. Okay, let's pick now. Oh, in case you're curious, these bones, I'm using a system. It's with mechanic bones, mech bones here, mechanical bones. So this exists for the elbow and for the knee. And so the pole targets, they are parented to these mech bones here, which are actually not parented to the joint, they are parented to some control bone of the spine or to the hips somewhere. So they not to the root, because I want them to have more direct follow-up of this region, right? The shoulders region, and here for the hips region. It makes sense, right? Otherwise there could be too much otherwise they might have problems for, well, the parenting actually is not that important, I guess, because so they are free to move because they don't have any bone constraint. Let's see. Where is my, this is not the properties editor. Shift F7 and Shift F1 for pose library, for the file browser or asset browser. So here, where are my bone constraints? Okay, no bone constraints, so it's free to move if I need, but it's falling to a certain distance, and so that's why I don't need to even touch them in this case. However, for them to follow properly on this kind of rotation here, or perhaps this one, I need to have extra setup, maybe some sort of, probably transformation bone constraint would do, maybe more than one, don't know, but a single one should do. But it's a bit complicated, but it's feasible. And there might be other ways around, but this is my plan for this, at least for this posing here. They follow, so I don't even have to record them here. Okay, so this is only the bones that I moved, and now I want to, let's save this as live 2, right? Just in case something bad happens, and probably something bad will happen. So this time it's not about the change of the rest position of the mesh, is the change of rest position for only those bones which are master bones for the I key. They're the I key controllers. So let's see. So currently they are here, and they are parented to the root bones. So what happens if I apply, now I'm gonna use this other operator, apply selected bones, right, as rest pose. So now we do not see it properly, but as I go on edit mode, there they are, updated. This is what I wanted to happen before. So, oh, I forgot that one. Okay, so we'll have to do it again. Because these are also I key controllers, so we'll pick this again. I think this won't disrupt it, because this is just takes the current position and reapply, so there's no mystery to that. And now here you see they are all displaced, but the cool thing is that now my rest position, real rest position, right, on pose mode, if I reset, it's that, even though the rest position for the bones, an even rest position for the mesh, is another one. Aha! So, but I'm still not convinced that this works 100%. Of course, this won't solve. This has nothing to do with helping solving the artifacts. This is just convenience for the, instead of using the pose library for this. But there is this possible inconvenience of the of certain features of the structure of the bones, right? Of the rigs, because now these bones are far away from the mesh, and sometimes we have to rig like here. Yeah, I don't have examples because I've deleted everything on the foot rig, but the foot rig would be an example. Lots of bones there, and then this different position, but at least it's only for this master bone, so it's the least of the problems, but it's not that good, right? Or I could have, again, I could have a sub master bone here, I guess, to keep organized the rig, and then it would be parented or dependent on this one that I really use for pose. So just a crazy idea, but maybe it would be. So this is something that we can do. This time it worked, and what I would like to try now, I'm trying to forest the last thing. What was that I was... It's something related precisely to this thing that I've done. So manipulations. Oh yes, oh sorry. Too many things to remember. It's the pose library. So now you see. Oh, let's get back to our pose. I think this was disrupted. Yes, it was. So that's an inconvenience, and I've only used one of these operators, so it gets destroyed. The pose assets get destroyed. I don't know if this is fixable anyhow. Maybe you know. If you know, give me a tip. Yeah, but if I probably believe that if you use the other method, that could also affect them, because the mesh rest position would be changing anyways, and to complete that other method by the ways we need to apply this, so it would be inevitable to happen the similar thing here. So destroying pose library. Okay, folks, that's it. I hope that was, yeah, it was a long, not a tutorial, right? Just this experimental craziness, and happy blending, and see you next time. I'll try to plan better what to do. If you have any questions, I hope you enjoyed the experimentation, and if you get some ideas, I could even be interested in testing out some stuff, but we're open to discussion here on rigging ideas. Have a nice weekend, or beginning of a next week, and see ya, folks. Bye.